I'm Danielle Bourgault. I'm a herbalist. I'm currently working towards becoming a registered herbalist with the Ontario Herbalist Association. I also have a certificate in holistic nutrition, and I've been working in restaurants for over 10 years now. So in this workshop, we're going to look at different ways to dry herbs. We're going to look at making infused oils and making seasoning salts using herbs. I think especially if you're growing your own herbs, this is a really great way to connect with the herbs and to get more involved with your cooking and prep of food as well. So there are lots of different ways that you can dry herbs. You could use a dehydrator if you have them. Some of it's going to depend on the herb that you're using. You want to get rid of any large stems. You can hang them to dry. I found that in a lot of cases the best way for me to dry them based on the space that I have is to either hang them or to lay them out on newspaper and to just let them air dry. Not in direct sunlight, but somewhere it's going to get enough light and airflow. You could also use your oven on a very low setting, although with some more fragile leafy herbs, this might dry them out a little too quickly and then you're losing a lot of that flavor. One thing I found, I'm definitely not a gardener, so I found that herbs can be very forgiving. Anything in the mint family will take over, so that's the kind of thing you maybe want to put in a planter if you don't want an entire field of mint or lemon balm or something like that. Something like basil likes a lot of heat. It's really going to depend on the herb, but container gardening is a great way if you don't have a lot of space to grow herbs. I think if you have access to fresh herbs, especially if you're getting them out of your garden or from a neighbor's garden locally, at a farmer's market, something like that, then generally speaking, that's the best way to consume them because they're fresh. But drying things really does preserve a lot of the nutrition and medicinal qualities. So as long as you've dried them in a way that preserves most of that and you keep them, like I said, in an airtight container, out of direct sunlight and heat, which are the things that will damage your herbs, then you're going to still get really good quality herbs. So in terms of how long the herbs will last when you're storing them really depends on, again, those conditions that we talked about. But the best way to check would really just to be open up your jar, smell the herbs. If there's a smell, there's probably a taste, and then there's probably some of that flavor, nutritional benefits, and medicinal benefits left in there. But probably I would say a year is a good window of time. So this is one that I made, and you can open it up and smell it if you want to pass it around. I did change the recipe a little bit just because I think I didn't have basil. I put chives in instead or something. So really you could use whatever you want, and I've given some other examples on the handout of good combinations that might be really nice.
So this is cooking oil with herbs added.
Yeah. So have you ever been to an Italian restaurant and you have that nice oil with the chilies in it and you just put it on your pizza?
Or dip your bread.
Or dip your bread, yeah. So that's fancy.
You've given me ideas here.
Yeah, Christmas presents,
at home.
Yeah.
Could use Maya's bruschetta from tonight.
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
And how long has it been sitting with the herbs?
I made that this morning.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I cannot smell much, or maybe, yeah, if
Okay.
it's for
Yeah.
a month or a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, so that's just day one.
Okay.
I can smell the chives in that. Probably the pepper hasn't quite
Yeah.
been sitting in there long enough. If I pulled it out right now, it's probably still
Yeah,
a little crunchy.
yeah.
Let's make some oils.
So what do we do?
Okay, so come up here and then you'll grab the bigger jars. The smaller ones are going to be for our salt. So they're warm, but they're not too hot, so it should be okay. The pan feels okay too. And then what we have for this recipe, we have oregano, basil. Oh yeah, and we didn't talk about garlic. So there is an option to add garlic. I'll just explain it and then folks can decide how they feel. Garlic and oil can lead to botulism. However, if you keep it in the fridge, then you're fine. So basically, if you make an oil and you want to include the garlic, you have to keep it in the fridge. So you can choose to do it with, we can chop some up, and you can choose to do it without. I personally have kept olive oil and garlic in the fridge for like a really long time and have never had an issue. But that's not a, it's not a guarantee.
Disclaimer. Not recommended.
Yeah, I'm not like, you know. So if you do want to do garlic, probably one is good enough.
Would you chop it up or keep it whole?
I would keep it whole because it looks really pretty, but it's up to you.
Just crush it slightly.
Everything broken up will infuse faster. Basically, you're giving more surface area for it to extract the flavor from.
Just score on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Is there anyone else who wants garlic? We'll just chop up a whole bunch for
I'll chop it. So it doesn't really matter how much herbs you put.
Right, so I would say like to about half the jar, or how you're doing it, like without, you know, just kind of throw it in loosely and yeah. And the basil, so we do have dried basil. I know it's from the store and it's maybe less exciting, but that's oregano. Yeah.
I'm just gonna grab the oil and move it.
It's still good
because
basil.
This is not a logical place for it.
Okay.
Oh, is it not working? Oh, because it's getting...
Yeah, thanks. And then
As small as possible because of the surface.
If you want a lot of garlic flavor, then yeah, you're going to want to chop it and make it really small. Then you'll come over here, and Kristen's going to help you fill it with warmer... Yeah, it's not hot, sorry, it's just warm oil.
we did sanitize everything too, which is just, you know, an extra precaution. So
I did write, I think I wrote 150 on the recipe, but I just tell people heat it on low. The low setting, warm it up. If you heat it up hotter, it will work better to extract things, but you're also gonna start damaging some of the olive oil. So, and over, like time will do the work for you, like over time, just letting it sit there. Thank you so much. So we talk a little bit about sanitizing jars. So you just want to keep in mind food safety. There's lots of really great information on the internet about that, you know, what temperature to sterilize your jars at, that sort of thing. But I think the most important thing is to just try it and see what you like. And if it's not ideal, try something different next time and add a little more of this and you know, take away a bit of that. And that's the really beautiful thing about herbs, and I think cooking for the most part is you can kind of experiment and learn as you go.